This is scientific notation. Of course, your first question is for the quiz is how to change from standard form to scientific notation. So you have to make sure that you move the decimal to the right of the first non-zero number. Now this right here goes for everything. In order to be in scientific notation, it has to be right there. Here's an example. See, the decimal is after the 3. A decimal cannot be after the 2 or the 8. It has to be to the right of the first number that is not 0. So when I move the decimal point, and sometimes you can't see it, pay attention to which direction you move it. If it's moved left, I'm going to add to the exponent. Move right, I'm going to subtract, take away zeros. So first thing I want to do for this one is I'm going to put my decimal in there. You don't see it. And I need to move it to the right of the first non-zero number, so I need to move it right here. So I'm going to have 4.28 times 10. So my decimal is going to go here. So I had to move it 5 times. So that's 10 to the 5th. Big numbers will have positive exponents. So the next one needs to go right there. I moved it right, so subtract the exponent, so it's a -5. Small numbers will have negative exponents. Let's look at the next part. Scientific notation to standard form. So if the exponent's positive, you move it to the right, negative, move it to the left. But remember, big numbers have positive exponents. Small numbers have negative exponents. And then put commas in the decimal point if you need them. So looking at this one, it's a negative, so I know I'm going to move the decimal to the left. It's going to be a small number because it's a negative exponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you add zeros in there. Here's my decimal. So 0.0000328. It's always a good idea just to double check to see if your counting was correct. So I have 4 zeros and then one number, so it did move 5 times. Started right here. Again, negative exponents will be small numbers. Okay, now I'm working on the next one. So it's to the 5th. So it might help to move it to the side so I have room. I move it 5 times. Looks like I have 3 zeros. I don't need to put a decimal at the end because it's understood. I will put a comma. Something that helps, and this is something I want to remind you guys, when you're multiplying and dividing these, sometimes your answer does not come out in scientific notation, so you need to make one change. It might be helpful to think if the number gets smaller, exponent gets bigger. Number gets bigger, exponent gets smaller. And I'll show you what I mean by that, but it might be a good idea to remember that. Okay, so I'm going to multiply. So we're using the same rules as we had before for exponents. These are powers with a base of 10, which is the same. So I'm going to multiply coefficients. Make sure you know this. I'm multiplying coefficients. Same rules I've had before. 3.2 times 4.3. And then I'm going to add exponents. So 6 plus 3, so it's 10 to the 9th. Now here's where the common mistake is. Here's where the thing I was showing you about to pay attention. It's not scientific notation because the decimal needs to be here. Okay, so I need to move it one more time. Now the question is, when I move it, do I need to make this to the 10th or to the 8th? So this might help you. If the number gets smaller, exponent gets bigger. Okay, so the number got smaller. It was 13. Now it's 1. So that needs to get bigger. So that's to the 10th. So make sure you watch out for that. Check to see if it's in scientific notation at the end. And then, of course, you need to know how to divide exponents. Divide the numbers, divide your coefficients, and subtract the exponents. Okay, this is no different than whenever we did 3x to the 6th over 4x to the 3rd. Same thing. You have coefficients, you have powers with the same base, you have exponents. So I'm going to divide 3.2 divided by 4.3. So 0.7, I'm just going to stop it at 4.4. And that's 10 to the 3rd, because 6 minus 3. Now again, watch out for this one. It's not scientific notation because the decimal needs to be here. So 7.44 times 10. Then the question is, do I make this 2 or do I make it 4? If this number gets bigger, this number gets smaller. If this number gets smaller, this one gets bigger. So since it was 0.7 and it became 7, this number got bigger, so this is going to get smaller, so that's 2.